Before we get to the episode, I want to quickly talk about a broker that I've stumbled across and that I've tried, I've created an account with, and I've done a review on it too. M1 Finance. I want to just quickly give them a shout out and props and highly recommend them, especially if you're new, have a smaller account, and are looking to just get started. They offer all sorts of great things. Not only do they have $0 commissions, so yeah, they're like Robinhood in that sense, but in my opinion, they're way better than Robinhood because on top of the $0 commissions, they also offer the ability to buy partial shares. So if you want a piece of Amazon or if you want a piece of one of these stocks that are trading for hundreds and hundreds of dollars, you can now get a piece of the action. And then finally, they do offer the ability to structure and have tax-friendly accounts. So there's nothing better than letting your money grow tax-free. And again, Robinhood does not offer any sort of tax-free accounts, but M1 Finance does. So if you are interested in learning more, kind of seeing a behind the scenes of how it all works, you can go to claytrader.com/M as in Mary, and then the number 1. Once again, claytrader.com/M as in Mary, and then the number 1, and that is where my in-depth review is. And also you can click on a link there where you get $10 free. And I don't know about you, but if all it takes is to click on a link and then all of a sudden you're going to get $10 after you fund your account, that seems like a pretty easy $10 in my opinion. So again, claytrader.com/M1, M as in Mary, the number 1. Check it out. Again, $0 commissions, the ability to buy partial shares, and you can set up tax-friendly accounts. It's definitely worth a try. This is a Stock Trading Reality Podcast, episode 167.
I would say just hopefully being able to execute these trades without any fear, without any hesitation, and without making any trading errors, and just following my rules 100%.
This is the Stock Trading Reality Podcast, where you get to see the realistic side of a trader's journey. Get inspired and stay motivated by everyday normal people who are currently on their journey to trading success. And this is your host. He was once accused of staging these interviews. Not kidding. Clay Trader.
Now, let me just first say, I would actually entertain the argument if, Ches and I were only on like episode 3, 4, 5, something like this. But this is episode 167. And I kid you not, I experienced somebody on Twitter that, he was just whatever, not believing, kind of trolling, just being skeptical. And I understand. Everybody should be skeptical, especially with all the gimmicks and stuff out there. But it got to the point where at the end of the day, he literally was like, no, that podcast is not real. All those interviews are staged. And at that point, I knew, all right, I could literally show this person in person, all these different people. I could show them everybody's tax returns audited. And he would still say, no, those are all Photoshop. Nope. You got an in with the tax accountant. I mean, some people just aren't going to be convinced of anything, but I'm really struggling to think of anyone that's taken it that far to literally the point where he was dead serious. He was not trolling. Where Ches, according to at least one person out there, all of our guests, this is all staged. I mean, how do they find out our secret, Ches? That's what I want to know.
I think they found our job application on monster.com. They were always interviewing people, paying them per job to say, and IT Nate, bless his heart, he scripts, he's practically like a screenwriter. He scripts the whole thing word for word. Nothing's off the cuff with what we do. So yeah, I guess they found us finally.
Yeah, in fact, what we're saying right now, like Ches said, this is how good of a screenwriter IT Nate is. I mean, this is all right on script. We are not going off script at all. But in all seriousness, yeah, I found that pretty comical that, all this is staged. So
tinfoil.
Tinfoil Central. And again, I don't mean to bash people for being skeptical, because you should be skeptical. And that includes being skeptical of Ches and I, especially if you just stumbled across the podcast. But I assure you, if you listen long enough, and when you hear advice such as, what the best trade you can make is? J-O-B, go pick up a part-time job. I think you'll start to see that Ches and I, we kind of just speak the reality of the matter. You will find no get rich quick here. You will find, you want to grow your small trading account? Again, ticker symbol, J-O-B, go get a job. That's a great way to trade your account, not throw it into some sort of, altcoin or something that's just been created or who knows what. So be skeptical of Ches and I, but all I'd say is just give us a chance, and you'll see that what we preach around here is kind of the boring stuff, such as like risk management and all that sort of stuff. So On that note, though, I guess if that one person is listening, we're bringing back a past stage guest, but we're bringing back David Krause, and he always has a special place in my heart because he currently is going to my alma mater, The Ohio State University. And what I really like about David is he is one of those guys, kids, it's kind of weird to call him a kid. Man, I'm getting old, but he's a kid that's like, you know what? I want to do something, and I'm not going to play any excuses. I'm not going to use I'm not going to play the victim card. I'm just going to get the job done. And he is somebody that Ches, would you agree, David, is when it comes to somebody that is hustling and making it happen, he's kind of fits that definition?
He definitely fits that definition, and considering, we just heard your story, it reminds me of you in the sense that he's always hustling. He's always hustling, and the thing is that, while most people might complain, I'm working a couple jobs, and I got school and all this other stuff, David always finds like the bright side and the light side and enjoys things he's doing. So yeah, he's just a hustler, and I wish I had that hustle at his age.
That's actually a good point. That's true. And I think that's probably one of his strengths is he does look at the bright side. So I guess we would say he looks at the glass as being half full. I mean, he makes the best of all situations, including probably my favorite part of the interview when he talks about sprinting in from the pizza parking lot. And I'll just leave it at that. But I think that little story he tells about really summarizes David. Like I said, he has been on the show before. I don't remember what episode, but a while ago. But we wanted to bring him back, touch base with him, and see how things are going. But yeah, if you're looking for somebody that likes to use excuses, you are not going to like David. But if you're somebody that's just like needing some motivation, maybe needing a little kick in the pants, then I think David will give that to you because, yeah, he gets out there and gets it done. So let's hear about David and touch base with him once again. David, welcome back to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me back.
Now, you just informed us you don't even listen to the podcast anymore, so I appreciate your brutal honesty, and that's fine.
And thanks for being on, David. We'll see you later.
Yeah, and we don't like you anymore, so it was, great discussion. I'm going to have to piggyback off of Ches on that one, but I'm kind of currently paper trading BHVN right now.
You're in.
So what I've been filled there, guys?
Yep, you're in.
Are either you watching this one?
Yeah.
Okay. I would have been filled. Has it hit 25 yet? Or would I be getting roasted right now? It hit 35. Now it's going up, so I'd probably be happy. See, now I'm tempted to really get involved in this one, but I'll just, look at this thing. All right, I'm putting it in an order, though.
Time to build?
No, I'm not in. I'm going to actually put in a real order if this move continues at 24.35. So we'll see. I don't know. Maybe listeners will hear me get roasted live on. I
think it's going to get up there.
Let's see. I'm going to double check here.
It's definitely going to fill the gap, and then it's going to completely crumble.
I'm at 24.35 or 23.45.
24.35. I do have an order in there, so we'll keep an eye on it, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, this one is too tempting right now. But I still would have felt good about that 23.35. I think I would have had a build, but well, now look at those level twos. It's tightening up. Oh, okay,
it's gonna hold.
A wolf there. See, there it pulls back. See, I would have been good then. I would have built before that. So, of course, I'm hindsight trading. All right. So, David, I did a little research. Last episode you were on was episode 83. Look at that wolf, Foreman. Look at that wolf. But you were on episode 83, and the one thing I always remember about yours, and I guess that's the title of it, but your parents thought the clay trader operation was some big scam or something. Do they still think that, or are they kind of comfortable with things, or do you just not even talk to them about that anymore?
No, I made my dad watch a lot of the courses, and I'd have him watch the webinars with me, so he knows it's legit. Okay,
cool. Is your dad? I mean, I know your dad is essentially got you interested in and pretty much taught you the importance of starting early in terms of not necessarily like day trading or anything, but investing. Am I remembering that right?
Yeah, it used to be some investors I worked with, some attorneys, but also my dad was on it and telling me that it's really important. So, yep.
Okay. And where do you stand? Let's see. Last we talked with you was a couple years ago. I know you're going to the Ohio State University, so David always has a soft spot in my heart because I'm a proud graduate of Ohio State. Are you got to be near graduating, right?
Yeah, so I'm going to graduate here in December, so really excited, taking a few classes this summer and just finishing up a few things. It's pretty much easy from here on out after I knock out a few papers.
Now, are you still philosophy major, right?
Yep, so I'm philosophy pre-law.
Okay, so the goal is law school afterwards?
Yeah, so I'm looking at a couple of different police jobs. Applied with a couple different agencies, so still waiting to see how that goes. If I can start a police academy or if I can go into law school. Yeah.
Okay, so you're kind of thinking about either law enforcement or just continuing. That'd be cool if you're like a cop, and as you cuff them, you can be quoting Confucius to them and Socrates and stuff like that. Is that kind of your game plan?
Do you think they call me officer philosopher?
They might. I don't know if you ask, but
Kind of got a nice ring to it.
it does. It does. I mean, to be or not to be, you could be asking the people. I realize that's Shakespeare, but it doesn't matter. That's
To be or not to be, just kidding. Put your hands behind your back and get in the back of the squad car.
Before I blow you away, because we were having a interesting discussion beforehand about concealed weapon insurance and all that. But did you see BHVN? It went down and hit 25. So worst case, 23-24. So I shoulda, coulda, woulda. I should have just kept in that 23-35. But oh well.
It's well. Now the podcast is ruined. Clay's going to be sour the rest of the time.
I'm going to be bitter. Look at that wolf.
Oh my god.
Oh, goodness. Why do we have to schedule? I blame IT Nate for scheduling this at 1 when this.
I thought you were going to blame me, and I was going to be like, no. Always throw Nate under the bus, especially if he's on vacation.
No, you had nothing to do with this. You just are. Yeah, you and I, we're innocent bystanders. We're just following the calendar that IT Nate throws at us. So I mean, it is clearly his fault. Yeah, exactly. Thanks. That's right. We'll just take $50 out of his paycheck. He deserves it. Oh, all right. Anyway, so you are going to be going off to either law school or police academy. And for you listeners out there, this is a welcome back. So I guess welcome to a welcome back where there's really no structure. We just hang out and kind of catch up and see what's going on. So on that note, do you remember anything about your last interview, David? Because usually we ask the guests to kind of nutshell, kind of their first episode. So I guess for listeners, just what got you interested in the market, and then as much as you remember from your first episode, kind of, what got you interested, and then where did things kind of go from there? So give us like a 5-sentence summary.
Okay. Started trading when I was 17 years old. I was introduced to the market by these attorneys and investors that I was working for. Didn't know what the heck I was doing. Almost blew up my Roth IRA. And found Clay stuff, thought it was a scam, and here we are.
Now, what did you trade, though, when you first got into were you penny stocks? I can't remember.
No, I was trading oil when it was getting slammed back in 2015.
Okay, so you're just buying for the investment perspective, like, okay, this stuff is ridiculously low. I'm going to buy and just wait.
Yeah, I would just buy, and then I would wait till it went up $100 and then take $100 out. So I was kind of swing trading in that sense.
But then you, like you said, you almost blew up your IRA account because oil just kept going down, right?
Yeah, but I kept buying more, so yeah. That was bad.
And that didn't end well, or that ended probably not so well. So you got into Clay Trader University, and you started taking the courses, and I guess where did things exactly go from there? What did you start trading after you had gone through the university program?
I started doing, I think I was fading like you do. I was using your strategy, and then I tried some RVR stuff, and then I went back to fading, and I did some advanced options, and now I'm back to straight up RVR.
That's good too. And correct me if I'm wrong, you generally are looking for kind of swing trading RVR. Is that right, or am I wrong?
No, so I'm back. I'm doing a little bit of swing trading, but mostly I'm now trading on the 5-minute chart. So I'm just doing intraday.
And just to clarify this, because I know there's some listeners who are always going to be new and haven't listened to other stuff, do you change anything when you're trading the 5-minute chart using RVR versus the daily chart? Obviously, the sizes are going to be different, but correct me if I'm wrong, aren't the concepts the same across the board?
Yeah, so a chart to chart, same thing, no matter what the time frame is.
And that's kind of the beauty and the flexibility of it, because David's traded multiple time frames here, but now he's focusing on using it for intraday stuff, which I think is pretty cool. So I guess how has that been going on the 5-minute chart?
Yeah, so I haven't been doing that long, just about a month, getting back into it, trying to take it more seriously again. I would say that it's going well so far. I discovered this new it's not new, but a new to me video series about psychology and how to execute these trades. And it really changed the way I'm thinking about them. And I'm doing these sample sizes of about 20 to 25 trades to see how it works out. Like for my first one, I was swing trading, but I was doing no mitigation. I realized that didn't work so well with my psychology, and that I needed to mitigate and take shares off the table when I was starting to see a profit. So that last sample I'm in sample number 2 of my day trades, and sample 1 was success. So.
And each sample you said is 25 trades?
Yeah, 20 to 25 trades.
Okay, and you said it was a success. How is success being defined?
Yeah, so it was green. It was only a little bit green, but I'm not sure if I attribute that to me just executing it poorly, or yeah, I guess the only way I could attribute that is executing it poorly, or small size and having commissions eat up a lot of it.
Okay, and that would make sense if you're just trying to test the waters and having those commissions kind of eat away at things. I guess you made a comment about and get serious about it again. So are you saying that there was a time where you kind of lost seriousness and you just started to do just kind of, I don't have fun with it? Or what did you mean by I got serious again? Or does that just mean you got back into trading as a whole?
Okay, so I took a few losses that I wasn't really comfortable with over the last summer, doing some fading, and I just realized it didn't work well with my psychology. So I kind of got discouraged and stopped trading for a while. And also, you got to realize I go to The Ohio State University, so there's a lot of fun things to do that's probably past your bedtime. So,
like go to Buckeye Donuts? Yeah. I know what shit. Man, that place is so good. If you're in Columbus and you haven't been to Buckeye Donuts, what kind of life choices are you making? But anyways, David, so it sounds like you just enjoyed college a little bit. Is that to keep it PG?
Yeah, just to keep it PG. I enjoy college, and I like sleeping in. So recently, though, I've been waking up at 9:30 and trading and just being in it.
Being in it. All right. So what does your new schedule look like? I mean, because I hear waking up at 9:30. Well, that's when the market opens. So I mean, when exactly are you doing any prep work, or are you just I guess walk us through kind of your current routine of things now that you've gotten serious again?
Okay, so I go to bed whenever, but as long as I'm getting about 8 hours of sleep, I'll be able to wake up and trade. Anything less than that, I don't even bother, because I don't want to be making trading errors, executing or hesitating, trading from a place of fear. So what I'll do is I'll wake up at 9:30. I set my alarm, and the computer's already on. I just log into IB, and then I call Nick Kripe on the phone, and I ask him what's going on. And because I'm trading on the 5-minute, full 5-minute candle hasn't even formed yet, I like to let a little bit of data come on the chart and just to see what's going on.
Oh, that makes perfect sense too. There's a lot of people who might sit out, kind of sit out the first couple minutes of the market, especially depending on the time frame. You know I personally used to sit out the first 30 minutes because it just wasn't my strong suit. But it definitely depends on your strengths and your strategy. You know, Clay completely loves the first 30 minutes, and I'm like, I need more data to kind of set my trades up.
Yeah, I hear you say sitting out. I'm just like, what kind of life choice is that? But I fully realize that we're all different. So yeah, for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
But, so I think that's cool. But if you don't mind me asking, I wanted to loop back because I've actually had moments like this where I don't want to call it falling out of love with trading, but something happens and then you need to kind of take a step back. How did you end up taking those big losses over? You said it was over the summertime?
Yeah. So last summer I was just fading a little bit, and
okay.
Yeah, I ended up. The weird thing is, the first time it happened, it was. I wasn't getting the right margin on a stock. I think it was some kind of biotech or pharma stock. I was trying
to. That's right. Yeah. I remember that in the chat room now that you bring that up.
Yeah. So that really frustrated me. And then I got back into it. And, interestingly enough, the time that I think I was coming from a place of euphoria. I wasn't perceiving any risk. I was thinking, okay, I could up my size, start with 300 shares. It's only a $20 stock. It's a quick 30 or $45. And, I think it was that NLNK. That's the one that got me. It just it roasted me. And you know what? It did end up wolfing, and I would have been okay had I built. But how many other times have we seen it just go, nuts and keep on going? I think it wolfed, and I put my stop over the high, and I ended up getting taken out. But if I would have built more, I would have been okay. So.
And you would have been, correct me if I'm wrong, you would have been able to build more had you stuck to your original position sizing that you should have been?
Yeah, I would have been able to build more no matter what. I mean, I'm not trying to brag, but my count, I never...
Right, but my point is this, is you said you upped your size on that trade, right?
Yeah.
So psychologically, you're thinking, oh crap, I'm bigger than what I normally am. So that probably freaked you out somewhere. I mean, that screwed up your psychology. If whether or not your account can handle it, I mean, if you're looking at bigger position size than what you're normally used to, that threw things off from a mental perspective, I would say.
Yeah, so I think that at that time, it's been so long ago, I was starting with 300 shares, and I wanted to build 4 or 5 times. So I ended up building, I think, 2 or 3 times, and then it wolfed, and I was thinking, okay, if this thing breaks the high, it could really get going. I just want to be out of this thing. I don't want to build more and then really get stuck. So. But it ended up breaking the high, and then it pulled back. It would have taken me out. I would have been okay, but I just couldn't handle it anymore in my brain, so I had to get out.
Gotcha.
I thought you brought up another good point though, and Clay, I want to jump in here because this is an important part for me, and I never realized the value of getting a good night's sleep until I really started trading. Because don't get me wrong, I used to. Back in California, I could roll out of bed with like 3 hours of sleep, drive my car to work, and then just be at the desk and be a robot and do whatever. For trading, though, I'm in the same way. If I get anything less than 6, I don't even bother. I literally turn off my alarm to get up in the morning at like 6:15 because I know that if I do, I'm just going to perform poorly. It's just happened so many times in the past that I learned my lesson. So it's funny because my wife works night shift. She's always on a different flip-flop schedule. So if she has friends over and stuff, they're up super late. I'm just like, hey guys, sorry to be like an old man, but I have to conk out now or I can't get up and go to work tomorrow. So I'm a firm believer in that. And Clay, do you ever find yourself, I mean, obviously, you've had a good couple of kids now, so I know your sleep can't be that great, especially right when newborn baby comes home. But do you have any kind of issues where if you don't get a lot of sleep, you think I'm not even going to bother trying to trade today and just do other kind of clerical work and stuff like that?
That's actually, yeah, this is an interesting discussion. I'm trying to think, and I can't say that I have any sort of, I mean, David said his is 8 hours. You said yours is 6 hours. I guess, I think mine's just kind of feel, and I don't feel... I mean, I could be coming off a 10-hour sleep, but if I'm just like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's just, you guys probably get it because you guys know your feel. That's how you've identified your time frames. But for me, I think it's just more of a feel-based thing rather than, because I've had times where I've gotten plenty of sleep, but I don't know what's up, and I'm just not seeing the market, or I'm not just, I don't know. I don't know how to describe it because to a listener out there, it's hard to describe unless you've actually been down in the trenches and traded and gotten to know the voices in your head and gotten to know your own personal psychology. So I guess to answer your question,
you've done it for 10 years too. So you saying it's a feel thing. Like I think me and David are still developing that feel thing. But yeah, that makes total sense.
Yeah, because I mean, and that's so. I guess my warning to both of you, being that I've traded, is just be careful. Just because David slept 8 hours or you, Ches, have slept 6 hours, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're still in the right framework of mind to trade. Maybe, so I guess, yeah, develop the feel is what I'm getting at there, because you just, you never know. I'm not saying, I think that's good policy to have, because it sounds like you guys are narrowing down the range in terms of you're getting to know yourselves better. But yeah, for you listeners out there, don't think that, okay, I automatically got 8 hours, that means I'm mentally focused. You just never know what else may be going on in life or whatever,
yeah,
where you're
that's
just
a good
not,
point.
where you don't have the feel. So, but yeah, good rabbit hole. See, David, that's why you should be listening to the Welcome Backs, because you never know when past guests can go down rabbit holes like that. I applaud your honesty though. And
did something happen to you, David, in terms of you just were trading on the lack of sleep and making silly mistakes? Because that was my thing. I was just missing the most obvious stuff, and I was like, I'm brain dead. I don't know what I'm doing here, throwing my money in the market.
Yeah, I would just feel like garbage, and I would just do stupid stuff, and or fat fingering orders is probably the worst thing. Just making these trading errors, and maybe it's just self-sabotage at the end of the day. But I realized, okay, I really need to sleep. I feel like garbage, and there's no point in me, putting this hard-earned money at risk for me to just blow it away, making dumb errors.
Especially when you don't need to, right? I mean, which reminds me, and I'll get to that in a second. But it's not like you're under the gun to pay the bills or anything. I mean, you still have a career ahead of you and all that. So I mean, I would say I applaud you for that realization of it's not like I need to trade for anything, because especially if I feel like garbage, because it's not like the gas bill's on the line here if I don't get that out there and trade, because you have plenty of life ahead of you. Which brings up the point, last week we talked with a two-parter about no excuses, and you're another shining example of that, especially for the younger listeners out there. I mean, David, like I said, is in college, but you wanted to grow your account, and I'm trying to think. I guess walk us through all the little jobs you've done over the past couple of years in order to just bring money in, not necessarily maybe to trade, but I know for your money tree, which is, around the clay trader community, that is your investment accounts for retirement. And David is already saving for retirement, which is awesome, and I get it. What? He's still in college. Retirement's like 40 years away. Exactly. He understands math and history, so he's going to take advantage of it. But I mean, what of all the things, I still remember when you posted the picture of you in your Domino's uniform, but I mean, walk us through all the things you've done to put extra cash in your pocket.
Yeah, I have a big money tree right now, a lot of positions on there. So, and no small part was through these little jobs. So at first I used to work for these lawyers, and they're investors as well. And I worked a ton for them for a couple of years. So I would say a lot of my money tree, I should have them to thank for, and my hard work there. And I used to work at Domino's. I was delivering pizza out driving around, which was pretty cool. That was fun. I still might do that a little bit just to pick up some money on the side.
I'm curious, how much money did you actually make delivering pizzas?
Oh man, I would say, it just depends on how much you get tipped, but on a good night, you can make $60 in 5 hours just in tips, and you're also making, I think, like $5 an hour or something like that when you're on the road, and you get minimum wage when you're in the store. But it equals out to anywhere from $12 to $15 an hour. It just depends on how hard you want to work, how fast you want to work. I run from my car to the store just because I want to get that next delivery. I want to get it as fast as possible so I can make more money.
I love it. But I mean, average like paycheck, like what was a paycheck that you would see from Domino's? Just ballpark it.
Oh, it just depended how much I worked, but it'd be anywhere from $200 to $300. But I would say at least half of that. No, how do I say this? At least that much or more was in tips as well that you already got the same day.
Right, cash right in your pocket.
So, and you got to be careful. I never really had this problem, but I never would just spend my cash. I would always just deposit in the bank, and I use my credit card to get cash back and to track my spending. So I know a lot of people, when they get cash, they just spend it immediately.
That's a good point. I also want to commend you as well, because you, regardless of whatever job it is, you found like joy in it. You had fun in it. You almost, you're like, I'm running to and from the car to like get the next delivery. So while people might complain about flipping burgers or doing what else, I mean, I used to deliver sandwiches on my bicycle. I found enjoyment out of it, and therefore I was able to kind of make decent money at it, and was cool to do it. So I just want to commend you in that, instead of complaining that, I can't believe I'm working this part-time job now too while I'm a full-time student, and really kind of whining about anything. You literally said, hey, I could use the extra cash. I enjoy what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. And the fact that you said that you're considering even going back to do it some more, I mean, that just speaks to your kind of work ethic and doing that. So yeah, more people need to kind of develop that, instead of, I have, an extra 10 hours a day to do absolutely whatever I want, and okay, I'm going to sit here and watch Netflix. So yeah, kudos to you on that.
Or I'm going to troll around YouTube comment section, or social media. Just there's the amount of wasted time out there that I see, and then you put that equivalent to the amount of complaining that I see. It's just like, I think there's a correlation here between people just wasting their time, because I know there's ways to do it. We heard it last week. We've heard it a few weeks ago with, I can't remember whoever was doing batteries. And here's David sprinting from the car to the store so that he can get that next order before the other person. Folks, if that's not capitalism, I don't know what is. Competition. David has turned it. That's probably one of the most favorite things I've ever heard is you're sprinting to get that next order. And you know, if somebody's walking, oh, that's not fair. It's totally fair. You're the one that chose to walk, you bum. You need to sprint, son. And it's a way to get it done. Sick of people complaining. That's awesome, man. So you delivered pizzas. And is it fair to say that if somebody's looking to build up their trading account, that delivering pizzas is a viable method to do so? Would you agree with that,
yeah,
David?
It's not bad. And then also while I was delivering pizzas, I was working at a couple bars as a security guard, like a bouncer, and making $10 an hour there. So I'd get off my pizza job on the weekends and I'd go straight in and work at the bars. And I was already going to the bars with my friends, so I figured, well, hey, if I'm going to be here anyway, I might as well just get paid to stand here. So it was pretty fun. I mean, you have to do cleanup. Now,
did you ever have to ask somebody politely to leave? Because no offense, David, but I've met you in person. David came to the Columbus meet and greet. But it's not like you're 6'7", 275 pounds, sliced and diced, muscle.
He used his degree 77 years ago. Get out of the bar.
Yeah. I mean, did you intimidate people with your philosophy, or did you never have to get into any sort of altercations?
Oh, no. I mean, I've definitely gotten into altercations. I've had people try to fight me and stuff, but I am 6'5". Since the meet and greet, I've gained a bunch of weight. I'm 210 pounds now. I gained like 50 pounds, so put on muscle.
Oh, the lanky kid no more.
Oh, wow, you're growing up on us, Dave. When was that meet and greet? I guess that was over a year ago, wasn't it?
I would say it was back in
Man,
April.
time
I would
flies.
say I joined the jiu-jitsu club at Ohio State, so I've been doing Brazilian jiu-jitsu. So just learning how to do stuff without hurting people.
He's ready for that altercation if he had to.
Well, I stand corrected. I mean,
you're going to get beat up next meet and greet.
Yeah, in my mind, that Columbus meet and greet was just like 4 or 5 months ago. But I mean, time truly does fly. But I guess 4 or 5 months ago was Florida, and pretty soon we have Denver. But well, that's awesome, man. I love it. So that makes a whole lot more sense how you could be a bouncer. And you were doing this at multiple bars, you said, taking on a bouncer job?
Yep, I worked at 2 different bars.
I love it, man. So let's see. You were a bouncer at bars while you delivered pizza. Now, didn't you do the Uber Eats or whatever too?
Oh yeah, I used to drive around for Uber. That was a good time.
So that was another job. So I mean, how much money did you make doing that?
That one wasn't as good. I noticed, especially with gas and stuff, just driving Uber Eats, I would say that wasn't as good. I found it wasn't profitable because you had to wait in between deliveries. But with Domino's, there was actually more of a steady stream, and you weren't guaranteed. Well, actually, yeah, you were guaranteed. If you showed up to work, you're going to get money because you do have that base hourly rate. But with Uber, it's just whatever, and a lot of people wouldn't tip you on Uber. So
that's good information there for people out there, because I didn't think about that, but that's true. During that downtime on Uber, I mean, that's opportunity cost right there, gone. But at least with Domino's, the opportunity cost is diminished quite a bit because you are still making money. Now, granted, that hourly rate, like you said, is pretty rough, but at least you're still making some income there. So you would say, not even really the younger listeners, for anybody in life, like I've said, and we'll always continue to say, I mean, I'll speak for Ches and I on this one, but if you're a 50-year-old and you deliver pizza to our house, I would gladly tip you a little bit more just because I would respect you that much more. Because in my mind, I'm thinking, here's a guy that's getting out there and hustling. He's putting the ego away, and he's doing what needs to be done to make money. Am I speaking rightfully for you there, Ches? You would appreciate that and respect somebody in that situation?
Oh, absolutely. But a lot of people don't. They just aren't aware, and that's just the unfortunate case of it. But yes, I would fully agree.
Yeah. So I guess not only to the younger listeners, but anybody. It sounds like you would say, David, we're kind of using you as a consultant here for just getting out there and hustling, but go with delivering pizzas over Uber Eats. Would you agree with that?
Oh, for sure. Definitely.
Okay. All right. And did you do any other odds and ends jobs over the past, couple years from whenever we talked to you last?
No, that's all the jobs I had.
Okay. And I don't need an exact dollar amount, but how much money do you think you've put in your, how much money do you think you've made by doing these odd end jobs? So bouncer, delivering pizza, and Uber Eats. Between those three jobs, ballpark it. I don't need an exact amount, but how much money do you think you've has that brought in for you?
Oh, I don't have any idea, but I would say probably 5 to 10,000.
Okay, and I was gonna think right around the 5,000 mark, but so let's just split the difference. Let's call it $7,500. And how long of a time frame has that been? We're talking about a year and a half.
Yeah, that's just kind of having odd jobs work, or how to say this, doing school around that. So, and most of the pizza and most of the delivering pizza, most of the money I made was in the summer because I didn't have school. So yeah, probably about 7,500.
So my question to you listeners is, ask yourself, what could $7,500 more in your trading account? What would that mean for you? $7,500 more. Now, don't close your eyes and visualize, because if you're driving, that would not be a good thing. But just what would $7,500 more do for you? And there is no reason why you cannot have $7,500 more. Here's David that made that amount. Well, $7,500 in like a year and a half, what? He was going to school full time. So if you're not in school full time and you have a full-time job, just imagine what another just a few hours a week could do for you. I mean, $7,500 more. You can't look at it in, no, look, you got to keep things in context. But I mean, think about that. There are ways to get out there, and Ches and I's favorite ticker symbol as far as making money and a guaranteed trade, ticker symbol JOB. You get out there and you take that ticker symbol, you're going to make some money. So that's some good stuff. Were you going to say something, Ches? I think I cut you off.
No, you said, what would you do with $7,500 more? Don't close your eyes. And I said, buy more Bitcoin. But that's okay. Maybe you shouldn't do that.
Yeah, all right. That's just Chez's legal opinion. So or not legal opinion, that's just Chez's opinion. So if you buy Bitcoin,
I'm not a financial advisor.
Yeah, he's not
financial advice.
Yeah, there you go. This is just, we're just a bunch of schmoes. We're just sitting in our under right now talking to, so just full legal disclaimer there. All right, let's see. So that's good stuff, David. So I definitely wanted to bring that up because that's one thing that I really respect about you is you're young and you already have retirement in mind, and you're out there hustling to get money for retirement. And all I ask, and I once again going to speak for Ches, is when you're 30 years from now, 35 years from now, when you have multiple millions of dollars in your retirement accounts, just remember Ches and I, okay? I mean, if you want to throw a Lambo my way and
helicopter
a yacht
my
his
way,
yeah. I mean, just remember us. Will you at least do that for us?
Yeah, for sure. Hopefully, we'll still do meet and greets and we'll be hanging out.
Could you imagine that?
I think David needs to host it at his mansion, because Clay, that's a low cost thing for you.
That's
just
true.
Be invited out there.
That is true. Yeah, we'll do meet and greet. 2050 at David's mansion. So. Don't book any plane tickets yet because we don't know where that mansion will be. So I guess, as things stand right now, you're swing trading, you're on your second sample size, but projecting a little bit out into the future, I mean, do you have any goals, or where do you see yourself a year from now, a couple years from now?
I would say just hopefully being able to execute these trades without any fear, without any hesitation, and without making any trading errors, and just following my rules 100%, to where I don't even have to think about the samples. I'm just doing it. Hopefully I'm able to be one with the market. I know as weird as that sounds, I really just I'm hoping that my accuracy can increase. I've been using this program called TraderView. It's a website to log all my trades and to see what's working and what's not. And I'll go in after I do my trades for the day and IB updates. I'll tag my trades. I'll put little tags on them. So I'll say, this is a day trade. It's sample size number 2. It was Cliff Point. It was a Bear River. It was a Bull River. And I see what's working out, what's not, what's higher probability, what's a higher probability setup than another. But really just taking all the trades, coming from a place of trading the sample and trading in terms of probability instead of living and dying by the next trade like I used to. I used to always think about, how do I say this? I used to always think about every trade as, oh, this has to work out, or this bull flag with consolidation. If it doesn't break out, then I'm just done. It was a fake breakout. This type of setup doesn't work. But I'm taking every one now. I'm taking every trade that I see that fits my edge, because I know that there is this random distribution between wins and losses.
And I mean that all this stuff you're essentially finding where you fit best in the market, and with time and practice and just pretty much doing it, it starts to tame the voices that you understand, that you are confident in your abilities and stuff like that. And you're already well on your way. I have no worries about that. But here's what I am worried about. I wouldn't say worried about. Here's something I just want to hear what you think about. You have a lot going on in terms of stuff outside the market. You know, you're about to graduate college. You're most likely getting into law school or, the police academy. So where is trading going to kind of fit into that? Do you have any aspirations to be a full-time trader down the line? Or are you just looking to have, supplemental income on top of your 9-to-5 job, even if you're not working 9 to 5? You got a lot of stuff going on in life where I'm like, where do you want trading to fit in, if you want to kind of become a full-time trader or not? I wasn't really sure, because I know you really kind of like the profession that you're trying to get into.
Yeah, so it just depends on how much I like it after I get my hands dirty and get into it. But I would say that while I'm in the police academy, I'm not going to be able to trade that much, because I'm going to be so it's a real job. It's, I think, 8 to 5 or 8 to 4, and I could see myself swing trading during that time. And I would say that would not require so much management. But eventually, let's say that I get on second shift or third shift, I'm working the night, and I get off work at 8 a.m. and then I stay up and I trade a little bit and then I go back to sleep. That sounds pretty ideal. And I think I would just keep it part-time, because even if I did, say, quit every other job, I wouldn't want to be sitting in front of a computer screen the whole time. I want to get into real estate. I want to buy rental houses. I want to just become a more well-rounded investor.
I like that, man. So you, in other words, your broader term time horizon is multiple streams of income. Is that an accurate kind of summary of what you're going for?
Yep, for sure.
Nice. And you just keep driving like you are. That'll happen. I guess just kind of you mentioned swing trading, and I know you said you've tried the advanced options. Are you open to trying the advanced options more? Because I know, as Ches can speak more and will attest to, the advanced options for what you're describing, especially from a swing trading perspective, I mean, that can make a whole lot of sense and fit nicely into the time schedules that you would be dealing with. So are you open to attempting the advanced options again, or when you say swing trading, would be strictly with stock?
Yeah, I just realized with advanced options, some of the stuff I was doing, I wasn't really perceiving the risk in some of the earnings plays I did, and they did work out, but if they didn't, I wouldn't have been too happy, even though they were super high probability. With advanced options, there's just so many different moving parts, and when you do take a loss, it sometimes is bigger. So I think I would just stick to equity, because it's very simple. I decide I'm going to buy at this price, and I'm going to stop out at this price, or I move my stop loss up. I'm going to take profit here. It's just way easier.
No, that's fair enough. I think you brought up a good point, and a lot of people aren't able to perceive the risk. So I guess I have no problem with you wanting to kind of do it with shares and stuff like that, because it still works totally fine. But I always find an edge just because you could structure how much risk you do want or don't want. But obviously, swing trading with shares, especially if you already mentioned before, you have a good enough account size where you can actually do that. In that case, you're literally just using technical analysis and risk management. So I do agree with you that I think that would be kind of the best way as you're kind of going through the police academy or law school, where it just takes, it takes you maybe a half hour, 45 minutes to maybe at the most an hour a day to kind of set up your swing trades and stuff. It's something you can definitely do while you still kind of have a job. So
I guess I was just Ches.
Go ahead.
Can I jump in real quick? I think I agree, but I don't know quite if I agree. But you mentioned, well, I don't know if I perceive risk right, and then you mentioned earnings plays. I mean, was that what you were primarily doing with advanced options? Was earnings plays, David?
No, I put on some short spreads. How do I say it? These credit spreads. but I also was doing some earnings plays. I don't know exactly what it's called, but I was selling a put out of the money and a call out of the money, and it was
regardless, you're playing earnings, which can really create some. I'm not going to call earnings play as gambling in the world of advanced options because it's not gambling, but there's a lot more risk in it. Would you agree with that, Ches? I mean, earnings plays, I don't know if that's really an accurate representation of what advanced options swing trading is, because there's such just crazy
it's such a one-off. Yeah, it's such a one-off thing, and it has nothing to do with who's forecasting what, because we've all seen it before. And the best examples you could ever give is that, oh, look, Netflix or Apple, they beat their estimates, and then the stock is absolutely tanking, and everybody's scratching their head. What's going on here? Yeah, sure, they beat that estimate, great, but everyone thought they beat it more, so that's actually now a bad earnings. There's just too much to me. I understand the math and the probabilities going into it, and I understand how to trade earnings, but I've found that I've lost more money than I've gained trading earnings, to the point where I just completely started to avoid them. But Clay, you were a witness to we called it 2 Sigma Summer, where every earnings play just got blasted out of the water by double, and I was just feeling the heat the whole time.
What was that, 2 summers ago now?
Yeah, I think it was 2. Yeah, it was 2 or 3 summers ago. It was whenever. Yeah, but regardless of that, if I had traded it that way for 10 years, I'd be up perfectly. But yeah, it's just, for me, there's so much uncertainty around that. I'm not a fan of binary events, but that's just me personally. I love slow and steady and normal conditions, and I know you can't always get what you want, but yeah, earnings have always been a source of trouble. I've seen a lot of people trade them well. I'd take that back. A small handful of people trade them well, but I feel like more people than not generally don't trade them too well, and I would probably fall in that category.
And so that brings up perfect. So I mean, David, do you think maybe that the earnings dynamic has kind of influenced your thoughts on advanced options about not really being for you? Because I mean, I sit here and think, well, Ches says you can structure and literally be like, no, my risk is X and nothing can change X, which is true when you do certain strategies. But with straight up stock, there is no X, because something could gap up against you hugely, and what you thought was X could become X plus Y, and the plus Y is who knows how much. So I mean, that part doesn't scare you at all?
No, I gotta admit, it does scare me a little bit, but not enough to totally scare me away, because I think you've even said it. It could gap up, but it could gap down if you're short. It could gap up big in your favor if you're long. So really, if you just take every one that you see that meets your edge, you're gonna come out ahead. So that's kind of how I think about it.
Okay, so I mean, do you plan on avoiding? Like, part of your trade plan is going to be to check for when these earnings are, or are you going to be willing to hold one of these swing trades over an earnings call?
No. So generally, when I'm swing trading equity, I don't hold them over earnings.
Okay. Do you have any other rules that are part of that strategy, such as, I mean, we just discovered you're not going to be holding over earnings. Any other rules that you would be implementing, or things that you're looking for?
Yeah, I look to see if it's having a dividend. So I don't like how it shifts the chart around. It's all wacky and weird. So I try to do it before, how do I say this? I like to do it after the dividend's already paid.
Okay, so you're paying attention to dividends, you're paying attention to earnings. Any other things that you that you're going to be keeping an eye on, since you're not swing trading right now? You're doing the intraday RVR and the 5-minute. But so I guess really from that perspective, as I talk out loud, you probably could still be developing some of those rules that you plan on doing for swing trading at this point in time.
I also look to see if it's super gappy normally. So if I look back on the chart and I see it's gapping all over the place, then I'm probably not going to play it. I'm looking at volume. It's very basic stuff.
Yeah. Well, basic is a relative term. Ches and I have seen things that we think is basic, but for other people are like gappy on the chart. I mean, Ches and I think, oh yeah, that's duh. But a lot of people are, what do you mean gappy on the chart? Well, there you go. So I guess that shows the power of knowledge. So I mean, you've commented a lot on things that you kind of want to work on and stuff. But I mean, what are some things right now that you think you're doing very well and you kind of want to build upon? I mean, you're well aware of some of those weaknesses and things you want to continue to work on. But what are some things that you would say are really in your favor that you think if someone were to say, David, what are some of your strengths? What would those be?
I would say I'm pretty good right now at being consistent with my position size. So when I enter into a trade, I'm always thinking, okay, I wouldn't even care if I lose on this or if I lose on the next 5, because it's really not going to matter that much. It might perturb me a little bit, but it's not going to make me hesitate to take it or get real tight with my stop loss, or say take profit too early, or just do wacky stuff and break the rules. So, for example, on my swing trades, I like to risk $20 a trade, because over 10 trades, that's only $200, and it's not that big of a deal. On my day trades, I'm risking 10, because I know that I'm going to do more of those in a day. So if I lose $10, it's no big deal. If I lose on the next 5, if I lose $50, my account's still okay. And also I have good reward possibility.
And also it just is going to, you can scale up as time goes on. So I think that is a very, very strong suit to have, that, you keep your position sizes correctly sized, especially as you know that you are working towards getting better at, various strategies. So I know you said that it does not bother you if you had lost like a string of 5 or anything like that. What did it take for you to kind of develop that resiliency to taking losses? Because it's totally common, and any new traders who are listening right now, I'm sure you get the feeling that when you lose like 3 trades in a row, you probably think you're the worst trader and the market is rigged and you hate everything about the market. What did it take for you to kind of get over that and realize that you're playing a numbers game? It's not personal. It's just sometimes that's the way you flip the coin and that's how it lands. So what did it take to kind of get to that point where it doesn't bother you to take, say, a string of 5 losses and just keep trucking on?
So I had to realize a few things. First thing I had to realize is that even though the setup could be the same as before or look the exact same on the chart, every moment is unique in the market. Every opportunity is unique. There could be different people participating. And then
now I'm crying.
And then the second part is that let's say that there's a big chart risk on the chart. My position buying 50 shares or buying 15 shares, depending on how volatile it is not going to move the market. I'm dependent on other people to make the price go in my direction or continue the momentum. So whether it works out or not, it's not even for the reason that I put on the trade, is probably not even the reason why it worked out. So I really have nothing to do other than putting on the trade and following my edge with whichever way the trade wants to go.
I like that. So the only thing that you really have to do with the trade is to follow your edge.
Yep.
The edge that you perceive, follow that edge, and then everything else is external. Because you're absolutely right. You are not a hedge fund. I'm not a hedge fund. Ches may be a hedge fund. We're still trying to figure that out. But none of us are going to actually move the market with any sort of, orders. Now, let me take that back. You could find some penny stock that gets $100 a day and then just be like, I'm going to buy $5,000 worth. And you would come across like a hedge fund. You would probably blow that penny stock out of the water. But we're talking about big board stocks here. I fully agree, with that approach. And that makes a whole lot of good sense. So, man, how old are you now? 22?
No, I just turned 21.
You just turned 21?
Yep.
Yeah, remember us, man. Remember us when you're 50, all right? Just that's all I ask, because you got a bright future ahead for sure. Keep working hard. And, yeah, the one thing, I don't know, we have a string of guests here where they definitely do not have any victim cards in their pockets. If you were to check their pockets, you may find other things, but a victim card is not one of those things that you would find. And I really respect you about that. And Ches used the term in last week's, two-parter, so I don't know what part it came across, but he used the word role model. I would say you're definitely a role model really for everybody, but especially people in your age range. I mean, $7,500. What could you do with an extra $7,500? And that came from just hustling, literally sprinting from the parking lot to get inside to get the next pizza order. So, yeah, man, I think I'm going to try to factor that in the title of this one. Are you sprinting? Are you sprinting towards success? Yeah, I don't know, but I really like that. So I'm going to have to see if I can fit that into the title somehow. But David, thank you very much for hanging out. Do you have any other topics that you wanted to cover or any other things that you wanted to say? I don't want to prematurely cut you off or anything.
No, that's it.
That's it. Perfect. Well, thank you for hanging out, and we'll Well, I guess I do know why it took us so long to get you back. We tried about a month and a half ago, but we had some issues.
My hearing is still recovering from that that loud day.
Yeah, and then you had exams and stuff. But yeah, we'll try not to have it be as long before we bring you back again. And who knows, maybe at that time you're going to have some great police stories for us, or you'll maybe law school wise. Are you going to try to go to I can't remember Ohio State's law? Are you going to try to go to Ohio State law, or are you going to try to? Are you applying other places too?
Yeah, so Ohio State's definitely an option, but I'm also looking at Capital and some other places. So it's
okay.
Whoever gives me the best deal.
Now you take your LSATs before law school. Is that how that works? I'm not quite sure.
Yes, so I still need to do that.
Okay, so you do plan on taking the LSATs then?
Yep, sometime soon.
So that's just more studying to do then. So. But hey, man, you're a grinder.
David's on his grind. Yep.
Yeah, there you go. So I mean, that axe gets sharper and sharper, and that's a beautiful thing. So yeah, I'm curious. I'll be curious, within the chat room and stuff like that. But as far as you listeners out there, if you choose to never join the chat room, that's fine. But yeah, you'll just have to wait a little bit while longer if you want to kind of get the play-by-play on David and his future. But yeah, man, that's awesome. Just turning 21, so awesome, dude, awesome. Well, thank you for hanging out, and yeah, until next time. David, yep. You're supposed to say, "Hey, thanks for having me."
Oh, that's right.
That was my opening. You hung me out to dry there. So let's try that again, David. Ready?
All right.
David, man, I appreciate you hanging out, dude. And yeah, man, thanks for hanging out.
Hey, thanks for having me.
There we go. It's
nice job, guys. Nice job.
Yeah, that was great. So, anyways, all right, for you listeners out there, and IT Nate, you don't have to cut that part out. We'll just. For the community members know, David, we like to all give each other a hard time, so that'll be right on cue. But for you listeners out there, before we officially go, if you're listening on YouTube, make sure to check out the rest of the channel. There's a lot other stuff besides these podcasts. But before you go and check out the channel, make sure you click the like button, and hopefully you ultimately decide to subscribe to the channel. If you are listening on iTunes or any of the other podcast players, subscribe, and especially on iTunes, if you could leave us a good 5-star rating, that goes a long way, really helps us out. And then finally, if you're listening at claytrader.com on the show notes page, then click that share button and leave us a comment down below the video. We do read those, and we will reply to them. So it's a very efficient way on your part to interact with us if you'd like to leave us thoughts or just questions or whatever. So that's the whole point of the comment section. But we appreciate you as listeners. I appreciate Ches, our esteemed co-host, and David, thank you again. We will see you all back next week.
This has been the Stock Trading Reality Podcast. Thanks for taking the time to hang out. To learn more about Clay and the Clay Trader community, including the trading team, premium training, and more, visit claytrader.com.